From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A near-death experience, what led up to a moment caught on camera as a truck crashed through whiteout conditions into an undersheriff's patrol car. And the fate of thousands of jobs still up in the air. What a judge says must happen next as mass firings continue across the nation and federal agencies. Plus a wake-up call for the first time with the Billings police chief is telling MTN News a year after surviving a heart attack. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Friday, February 21st. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
It's nice to be here.
We're love to have you this morning. Miller is on a ski trip, a 2-day ski trip up at Red Lodge with the fam, so we hope he's enjoying the day. He gets the snow without the bad temperatures.
You know, see how we planned that?
Yes.
Just as soon as the snow stops and the cold goes away, Miller knows exactly when to plan a ski trip, and that was like months ago.
And that was months ago. See, meteorologists conspire.
Yeah.
We all know it. This just proves it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Don't let out any secrets. These are trade secrets. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Stockman Bank weather cam. And speaking of those mild temperatures, here's the almanac from yesterday. I wanted to point out we hit 33 degrees yesterday. That's the first time we've been above freezing since the first day of the month.
Oh, wow.
And it's also the first time we've been above 16 degrees since February 6th.
That's too long.
It is too long. Even though we did start off with some chilly temperatures there first thing in the day. And of course, we've been talking about the snow, over 30 inches of snow just so far this month. That's the bulk of what we've seen for the entire season. There's the day planner for today. Temperatures warming up into the 30s by later in the afternoon. Sunshine, then a few clouds. We'll talk about the even warmer temperatures as we get into the weekend with the full forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, Ed, all good news there in the forecast. We appreciate that.
Thanks.
We're glad to have you here this morning.
It's good to be here.
We missed you.
Thanks.
All right, now let's get back to when road conditions were really bad earlier this week. A very scary experience for travelers and the Carbon County Undersheriff Wednesday afternoon. It's a story we brought you first here on Montana This Morning yesterday. Let's take a look at this video highlighting just how dangerous winter travel can be in Montana. The sheriff's office was helping with a wreck when this truck came barreling through the scene, losing control and hitting a car before careening off the patrol vehicle. Miraculously, the undersheriff escaped with just seconds to spare and everyone walked away without serious injuries. With more on this terrifying scene now, here's our Charlie Kleps.
It's clear here now, but on Wednesday, this section of Highway 212 turned into a whiteout near mile marker 87. It caused a series of bad accidents and one serious close call, a reminder of why it's important to drive safely this time of year.
You can't see, you can't hear.
It's something all Montana drivers have had to deal with.
The weather deteriorated, the wind deteriorated.
Blowing snow, turning clear roads into this. And suddenly, normal wintry conditions become dangerous.
It was a split second.
A split second between life and death for Carbon County Undersheriff Kelly Carrington. Carrington responded to a wreck on 212 Wednesday morning. This is his dash cam footage. You could see multiple cars off of the road and a man walking on the highway. Carrington tells him to get in his patrol car for safety while he gets supplies to help. And then
I heard the collision. I heard the vehicle strike the other cars.
Somehow, over the blistering winds, Carrington heard another crash. And before he knew it, a truck was barreling out of control towards him.
Run. And there's only one way to run.
Carrington ran behind his own car, which, as you can see, is struck by the dark-colored truck, somehow avoiding any injury.
I'm mostly thankful for the gentleman that was able to get in my car. Had he stayed where he was at, it would have been, very serious, if not fatal injuries for both of us.
Remarkably, no one was seriously injured in the entire incident. A harrowing close call that Carrington hopes serves as a reminder to take it slow with more hazardous conditions ahead.
Don't be in a hurry. Leave early. Arrive alive.
In Carbon County, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Charlie, thanks so much. And we now know the names of the Good Samaritans who were killed in the Interstate 90 crash in western Montana while assisting with another accident. That crash happened around 3 in the morning on Tuesday near Frenchtown. 41-year-old Richard Graham of Missoula, 46-year-old Jeffrey Clausen of Great Falls, and a 5-year-old boy from Missoula were killed after they were hit by an out-of-control semi. Captain Sean Sylvan of the Montana Highway Patrol previously told MTN that Graham and Clausen pulled over to help an SUV that had gone off the road. While assisting with medical aid, the two men were then struck by the tractor trailer. Their parked cars were also hit, which killed the 5-year-old boy and caused severe injuries to another. The investigation into this wreck remains ongoing. We'll have more information for you as it becomes available. And the snow and cold may have moved on out, but the region is not in the clear just yet. This week, Grass County Sheriff's Department has issued a notice to shelter in place today, with Big Timber schools already announcing their classes are canceled. Many businesses also closed today already, and this comes as strong winds in the forecast with gusts up to 60 miles per hour. The National Weather Service says that could lead to severe snow drifting, with area roads becoming impassable. This, of course, is an area that's seen quite a few wrecks from past storms this year, with semis sliding off roads due to treacherous driving conditions. And in national news this morning, thousands of federal workers are still waiting to find out if their jobs will be taken away. A federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration can continue its mass firings, though he acknowledged that the Trump administration's actions have caused disruption and even chaos in its first month. CBS's Jared Hill has more from New York. Alrighty, we're going to bring you that story as soon as possible. Several sources have confirmed that the U.S. Marshals Service has deputized members of Elon Musk's private security detail. Musk has reportedly faced heightened death threats in recent weeks. The move grants his team certain rights and protections of federal law enforcement. Do we have that story, guys? Okay, here we go.
Elon Musk whipped out a chainsaw at a conservative conference Thursday.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
As a federal judge said his and President Donald Trump's efforts to hack through the federal workforce can proceed. Earlier, the president praised Doge's efforts at a Black History Month event.
Elon Musk has done an amazing job, I have to tell you. Him and his super geniuses.
CBS News has found that more than 12,000 federal jobs have been eliminated or are expected to be terminated, including more than 6,000 IRS workers this week. Most laid off have been recent hires with probationary status, like Katie Sandlin. She only recently moved to the D.C. area from Alabama to work as an educator at the National Institutes of Health, given a termination letter that claimed, "Your performance has not been adequate to justify further employment at the agency." She says her supervisor said there was no problem with her work.
We do important work, we're impactful, and if you have questions or concerns about federal workers, ask one.
Our new administration has accomplished more than most administrations do in 4 years.
Last night, President Trump played up his first month on the job at a Republican governors meeting, including progress on immigration.
We began the largest deportation operation in American history.
U.S. Border Patrol tells CBS News crossings have dropped 94% compared to the same time last year. A downward trend started under the previous administration. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Back here in Montana, Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen announced an immigration enforcement agreement with the Department of Homeland Security yesterday. The deal authorizes Montana Highway Patrol troopers and Division of Criminal Investigation agents to arrest undocumented migrants in the state. They will then work with Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents to deport them from Montana. Under the new agreement, some Montana Highway Patrol troopers and DCI agents have the authority to interrogate and arrest undocumented migrants, serve warrants for immigration violations, and issue immigration detainers. Knudsen says this deal will help hold criminal undocumented migrants accountable and secure the southern border. Transitioning now to some health news. February is Heart Health Month. This month, of course, puts the focus on heart disease, which is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States, responsible for 1 out of every 5 deaths. Often, people have no idea they're at risk until something catastrophic like a heart attack or stroke happens. And that was the case for Billings longtime police chief Rich St. John, who suddenly suffered a heart attack last summer. Our Russ Riesinger hears from him for the first time about that experience.
July 7th is a day that Billings Police Chief Rich St. John will never forget, and not just because it's his birthday.
I had no idea I had an issue until I had an issue.
The chief had been headed to Red Lodge with his wife when his life took a sudden turn. He experienced what felt like significant cramps in his upper chest.
And I think everybody can relate with, aches and pains at and a twinge here and there, but this was different. And I knew that, you know, something else was going on there.
Something as serious as a heart attack.
Because you hear the saying, a lot of people, their first heart attack's their last heart attack because they ignore the signs. And I was fortunate enough to be able to, you know, to get to help relatively quickly.
Chief St. John would undergo double bypass heart surgery. It's something this 44-year-old law enforcement veteran and former Rocky Mountain College football player never thought would happen to him.
It took a little while to get over that. I mean, and still, it's like, you know, that happens to other people, not to me, because up until that point, had no issues.
But it happens to more than 800,000 Americans every year. Every 40 seconds, someone has a heart attack. The main risk factors include high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, obesity, and being overweight, and a lack of physical activity.
You know, this one medical instance at the catastrophic end could have been fatal. But on the other end, it's like, I'm getting a message here that, you know, let's watch our diet. Let's make sure we continue to exercise. Can always stand to lose a few pounds, so let's do that.
After about 2 months at home recovering, the chief was cleared to return to work with no restrictions. He says another thing that stands out from the experience is the support shown to him and his family afterwards.
It was so humbling and so appreciated. I can't even explain it to you.
A close call, but a happy outcome.
It's a wake-up call on how truly mortal you are.
In Billings, Russ Riesinger, MTN News.
Great story, Russ. Thanks so much. The chief says he was fortunate that he was able to get to the hospital so quickly. Signs of heart attack can often include chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, and dizziness.